On December 15, 1855, troopers of the 2nd United States Cavalry Regiment entered Texas for the first time. One of 4 new regiments approved by Congress in the spring of 1855 was organized specifically for service on the Texas frontier. The regiment left Jefferson Barracks near St. Louis in late October and rode through Missouri, part of Arkansas, and a corner of Indian Territory before crossing the Red River into Texas near the location of Preston Supply Depot. The officers were handpicked by Secretary of War Jefferson Davis, resulting in the elite regiment being known as Jeff Davis's Own. The regiment was known for the outstanding quality of the 16 general officers it produced in the 6.5 years of its existence. In fact, the 2nd supplied 1/2 of the full generals of the Confederate Army: Albert Sidney Johnston, Robert E. Lee, Edmund Kirby Smith, and John Bell Hood. The companies of the regiment were involved in some 40 engagements along the western and northern frontiers of Texas and along the Rio Grande, fighting Apaches, Comanches, Kiowas, and Mexican marauders. Companies of the regiment also conducted scores of scouting expeditions into west and northwest Texas. The 2nd Cavalry staged 2 major raids against the Comanche villages north of the Red River in Kansas Territory, one in 1858 and the other in May of 1859. The most significant engagement fought by the regiment in Texas was the Battle of Devil's River, July 20, 1857. On that date, Lieutenant John Bell Hood, with a detachment of 25 men from Company G, fought a combined force of Apaches and Lipan Apache warriors. It was estimated that a party of 50 warriors were killed and at least double that number were injured. The cavalry men counted 7 casualties. Hood himself suffered a painful wound when an arrow pinned his hand to his saddle. The regiment had also helped the Texas Rangers to combat Juan and Cortina and to bring peace to the lower Rio Grande Valley. Juan Cortina, or Chino Cortinas, was the leader of the Cortinista movement. Cortina held dual citizenship and owned land on both sides of the Rio Grande. The Cortinista movement sought to restore Tejano's socioeconomic standing and halt the seizure of their land. Their mission was to protect the impoverished local communities from unjust Anglo politicians and officials, as well as acts of cattle rustling and other thievery. Cortina moved to Brownsville in early adulthood and encountered ethnic tensions over laws and policies passed by the Texas state legislature, which restricted the abilities of Tejanos from starting or operating businesses, having their property confiscated, and causing them to have to pay off exploitive debts. They were largely excluded from the societal upper class and positions of authority. On July 13, 1859, Cortina saw a Brownsville lawman physically abusing a Tejano laborer. When he refused to stop, Cortina shot him in the shoulder and fled across the river. There he assembled a 75-man posse that attacked Brownsville on September 28th. The town was defended by only local militia, and Cortina's expedition quickly freed 12 Mexicans from prison and killed 3 allegedly corrupt Americans. The raiders raised the Mexican flag over the town and declared the formation of the Republic of the Rio Grande. On September 30th, he issued a proclamation asserting the rights of Mexican Texans and demanded the punishment of anyone violating these rights. Cortina was idolized by many of the poorer Mexicans on both sides of the river, and his small army grew as recruits joined his ranks. By early December, a group of Rangers, commanded by John Salmon Rip Ford, and one commanded by Major Samuel Heidzelman, with 165 regulators and 125 state volunteers, headed to Brownsville. Cortina, who was reported to have over 400 men by this time, retreated upriver. On December 27th, Heidzelman engaged and defeated Cortina in the Battle of Rio Grande City. The ensuing battles between Cortina's troops and the U.S. Army became known as the First Cortina War. Though virtually unknown in American military history, it resulted in the deaths of an estimated 151 combatants 80 Hispanic civilians, and 15 Anglo residents. Throughout the campaign, federal and state forces united, creating a more effective, combined arms team. The 2nd United States Cavalry was ordered out of Texas in late February 1861 and left the state via Indianola during March and April. Upon its return north, the 2nd Cavalry, now under the command of Major George Thomas, was assigned to Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania. When the mounted units of the United States Army were reorganized in the fall of 1861, the 2nd Cavalry became the 5th Cavalry, the designation by which it is still known today. It had driven the Indians far beyond the fringes of settlement, and it attacked and defeated the Comanches deep in their heartland. It was thorough in reconnaissance, persistent in pursuit, and successful in battle, and made a significant contribution to Texas frontier history.